is about 200-300 million. Iwekwe kwa budget ya supplementary inakuja, ndio hao wa mama na vijana wa Mathare waweze kufanya SMEs. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Wafanyabiashara oi! Nairobi oi! Naitwa Ladwa Muga Makadara, chama ni ODM, na ODM imesema 2 term. ODM inasema, ODM party inasema Nairobi, Makadara, Kenya. Leo ni siku ya rais, wacha tumheshimu, tusikie tubaki. Mungu abariki.
Your Excellency, majority are women. 2015, Your Excellency, unakumbuka kuna mswada tulileta bungeni ya kuweka 30% procurement opportunities za kina mama na vijana. Tunasisitiza ya kwamba, Your Excellency, kwa serikali yako uhakikisha ya kwamba mawizara zinapatia hawa kina mama kandarasi za kusupply. Pia sisi kwa counties tunang'ang'ana tuhakikishe tunapata. Naweza? Kazi ni kazi. Msinyanyase wafanyi biashara. Bora mnafanya biashara pale ambayo inatakikana. Siku hizi we have what we call the Unified Business Permit, where today you don't have to come here to City Hall to get a permit. From wherever you are, *647# ama kwa website yetu unaweka biashara yako, unajiprintia permit yako na unafanya biashara pahali ambapo ulipo. Na mimi nawashukuru sana kwa sababu you have supported the work that the county is doing. Your Excellency, tukimalizia, truly this is the engine of the economy. This is truly the engine of our economy. Wacha zile biashara kubwa ndio ni sawa, lakini hawa ndio kila siku wanaendesha nchi yetu. Tunakuomba during this MSME day that we can put more effort in supporting the medium-sized and small businesses, tuwapunguzia hata kama ni ushuru kidogo ya hawa ambao ni wadogo, si ni kweli? Ndio tuweze kufanya biashara vizuri. So leo mnasemaje jameni? Tuko hapo. Rais wetu endelee kutusaidia kwa biashara zetu. Mnaambia rais wetu aje? Hapana, sioni kama mnasema. Mnaambia rais wetu aje? Na Sakajare mnaambia aje? Yangu ni ngapi? Mungu awabariki sana na biashara zenu ziweze kunawiri na zistawi na watoto wenu wawe sawa pali ambapo walipo. God bless you.
Asante, makofi kwa Governor Sakaja. Pia tuko na MCS hapa. Governor, umesahau kuna MCA wetu Cecilia. Aya, asanteni sana. Okay, thank you. Aya. Wafanyi biashara, oh yeah. Aya. Your Excellency, with your permission now, allow me to invite the UN Resident Coordinator, Dr. Gary Cornell, to put us into perspective of this very important day. Dr. Cornell, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mheshimiwa Rais, waheshimiwa mabibi na mabwana, Kenyan brothers and sisters, hamjambo. Leo ni siku ya wafanyabiashara wetu. It'll get better with time, thank you. But we will try. Today, friends, today we honor Kenya's entrepreneurs, the men and women who turn ideas into livelihoods and livelihoods into national strength. Friends, picture a trader opening her stall in Nairobi market. In one hand, she has her stock, In the other, she has a smartphone. A customer messages her. A payment clears through mobile money. A Kenyan invention, by the way, that all other countries today follow. A business once limited by foot traffic now reaches far beyond the stall. Now, this is not a small story. This is Kenya's story. It is the young agripreneur of Kirinyaga, the youth-led agribusiness in Makueni, the Juakali artisan whose hands carry skill, invention, and the quiet dignity that builds this nation. Now, multiply that trader by millions, and you are no longer talking about small businesses. You are looking at the Republic of Kenya at work. On behalf of the entire United Nations family in Kenya, I thank the government of Kenya, and particularly the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME Development, for inviting the United Nations to co-host and support this celebration. Now, this year's theme, a question that is anything but abstract. In an economy reshaped by artificial intelligence, what kind of enterprise ecosystem are we building for the next generation? Our answer must be clear. Technology must be designed around people, not people around technology. Artificial intelligence, automation, digital platforms, and data should expand opportunity for emerging entrepreneurs, women CEOs, and youth innovators, not displace them and not deepen the inequalities we already carry. Now, for Kenya, this is not a theory. It is jobs, it's productivity, it's dignity, it's resilience, it's industrial growth, and it's, of course, competitiveness. Worldwide, micro, small, and medium enterprises are roughly 90% of all businesses and more than 70% of all employment. In emerging markets, formal MSMEs generate up to 40% of national income, far more once the informal economy is counted. And this is why the United Nations sets aside this day, the 27th of June, to honor them. Yet the barriers are real. Limited access to finance, weak integration into value chains, constrained innovation, and vulnerability to shocks. So amid uncertainty, climate pressure, and rapid technology change, their resilience and competitiveness have never mattered more. In Kenya, calling MSMEs the backbone of the economy is no figure of speech. These are the enterprises where a young person earns a first wage, tests a first idea, learns a first trade, and they sit at the very heart of Kenya's bottom-up economic transformation better. Excellencies, let me say plainly what the evidence already shows. Friends, Kenya is not waiting to be told where the future is. Kenya is helping to draw the map. Through the government's own financial inclusion fund, the Hustler Fund, more than 84 billion shillings have reached over 27 million Kenyans, and more than 7 million people once locked out of formal credit are now building the financial record for the very first time. And this is not charity. That is a nation deciding that no Kenyan with ambition should be invisible to the economy. It is reinforced by Kenya's new Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code and the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, deliberate steps, in my view, to close the financing gap for women and youth in rural enterprises in Kenya. And on artificial intelligence, Kenya is not following. Kenya is actually leading. With its National AI Strategy 2025-2030, Kenya has set out to become Africa's leading hub for AI research, innovation, and responsible adoption. Anchored, by the way, in beta. Kenya is a founding member of the International Network of AI Safety Institutions. And here in Nairobi, Kenya championed the first ever United Nations resolution on environmental sustainability of artificial intelligence, insisting that Africa will not be a spectator in this transformation, but a steward of it. This is something we should all be proud of. When Kenya leads on the technology of the future, it leads not only for itself, it United Nations and why we're here today. We're here to build parallel systems, to duplicate. Kenya leads, the United Nations enables. This agenda is Kenya's, and so is the leadership. Under the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, our task is to connect policy with delivery, financing with inclusion, innovation with jobs. And let me name just a few things that we're doing with the leadership of Kenya today. First, in terms of skills. Through UN-supported programs, nearly 5 million people have gained skills and lifelong learning, and more than 3,500 refugees have trained in trades like welding and mechanics, turning displacement into the dignity of livelihood. Second, recognition and formalization. Many Kenyans in the informal sector do not lack skills, do they? They lack recognition. We have supported Kenya's recognition of prior learning policy, and more than 1,200 informal workers now hold certificates for skills they carried unrecognized for years. Formalization, friends, is not a form to fill. It's a doorway to finance, protection, markets, and dignity. And third, women and youth. Too often, they meet unequal access to capital, networks, technology, and markets. Women CEOs and young innovators change. They are the leaders of Kenya's next enterprise frontier. Through the African Girls Can Code program, the Projects Partnership funded by the Government of Netherlands and other partners, and Kasha led by FAO and MasterCard across 15 arid territories, young women and men are moving from learning to earning. And fourth, financing. Access to finance remains the steepest barrier in the world, and here in Kenya. The next generation of MSMEs will need capital that is more patient, more affordable, and certainly more inclusive. Through the SDG Multi-Partner Trust Fund in Kenya, the UN has helped mobilize over $32 million for women-led cooperatives, green enterprise, and the MSME-linked innovations inside Kenya's own finance. Centered, technology must serve people, their dignity, and their opportunity. Second, the AI economy must not displace Kenya's entrepreneurs. It must equip them to lead, to compete, to create jobs, to build resilient businesses. Third, Kenya's transformation will not be carried by the few and the large alone. It will be carried by millions of small enterprises, growing more productive, more formal, and more digital, and more connected. An entrepreneur is not only someone who sells. An entrepreneur is a nation builder, at a stall, on a farm, in a workshop, on a phone. They are the builders of dignity, the engines of innovation, the creators of jobs, and the anchors of community. Yaharambe. In the spirit of pulling together, Kenya's smallest
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, colleagues, na wananchi wote, hamjambo? Excellency, you can see how happy these people are. And I can tell you, these people in 2 days. Thursday and Friday. Ni unaona vile wamekuja hapa. Lakini kwanza nataka nikushukuru kwa sababu katika serikali yako wewe mwenyewe uliamua hii sekta ya MSME iwe mojawapo sekta ya muhimu sana katika serikali yako. Kwa zile sekta tano ambao mwenyewe umechagua kulenga kuendesha maendeleo ya uchumi katika nchi hii, MSME mojawapo. Ndio kwa sababu naona hawa watu wamekuja hapa siku ya leo. Na sisi katika wizara ulipoamua hivyo, sisi tumeanzisha ile kamati ya kwenda kila region ya nchi hii kuongea na hawa wananchi ili wajue zile opportunities ambazo ziko. Wajue wakianza biashara mambo ya pesa wanapata wapi. Wakianza biashara masoko ziko wapi. Soko la hapa hiyo policy itawasaidia hawa kufanya biashara yao bila shida zozote, kuwaonyesha vile wataendeleza mambo yao ya biashara ili wao. Bado nina furaha katika nchi yetu, wananchi karibu milioni 20 wako katika hii sekta. Kwa hivyo hii sekta ni ya muhimu, na wewe pia kuleta ile hustler fund. Wamesema hustler fund karibu wa Kenya 27 million kila siku wako hapo wanatafuta pesa ya kukopa. Wote nimeona wako 2 term. Uko 2 term? Nione wale wako 2 term. Basi mshikilie hapo. Hapo ndio maendeleo iko, na hapo ndio njia ya sisi kama nchi kuja pamoja na kuendelea mbele. Sawa. Kwa hivyo siku hii ni siku yako Mheshimiwa Rais, na ninataka nimeambiwa wako hapa wale ambao wametusaidia kwa siku ya leo. Leo Caroline, hao wamekusaidia and we need to acknowledge them. The board of MSEA chairman nimemuona hapa, board of MSEA na chairman ako hapo na CEO. Hao ndio wamefanya sisi kuwa siku ya leo. Na pia rais amepia sisi kuwa hapa vile tuliko. Na mimi Mheshimiwa Rais, nataka nikuhakikishe sisi tuko na wewe mpaka 2032 ndio tuangalie mambo yetu, si ndio? Si ndio? So watu wa ODM tuko hapo. Nione watu wa ODM wale wako hapa. Sawa sawa. Mheshimiwa Rais, nataka sasa nichukue nafasi hii nikukaribishe uongee na nchi wa Kenya.
Tafadhali tuketi. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Asanteni. distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, every great economy is built from the bottom up. Kenya's will be no different. Today, we celebrate the millions of entrepreneurs whose enterprise, ingenuity, and determination will build our nation's future. In Kenya, 98% of all businesses are micro, small, or medium enterprises. They create more than 90% of our non-farm jobs and contribute over 40% of our gross domestic product. So, when we speak about the future of Kenya's economy, we are speaking above all about the future of our micro, small, and medium enterprises. Their success is ours. Their growth is our transformation. That is why, under my administration, the MSME is not the concern of one ministry. It is a pillar of our national transformation. We made it so for a simple reason. This is where most Kenyans earn their living and where Kenya's industrial future will be forged. All evidence back this position. Across the world, small medium enterprises make up to 90% of all businesses, more than half of all employment, and roughly half of global GDP. MSMEs are not the margins of the economy. They are its mainstream. Those who have already industrialized show us what is possible. Consider Germany, one of the world's most advanced economies. More than 99% of German firms are small and medium enterprises. They provide nearly 60% of all jobs and generate more than half of national output in Germany. Among them are some 1,600 hidden champions, small companies that dominate global markets in highly specialized fields. Germany did not industrialize despite its small enterprises. It industrialized to them. That is our destination. The MSME is not the waiting room of our economy. It is the engine room. So how do we get there? Let me share what we have done. One great task that still lies before us. We began by clearing the path, creating a state department for MSMEs to give the sector a permanent home and taking government to the phone. Today, 25,800 public services are available on the Citizen platform, while the cost of registered company has fallen from 50 Kenya shillings to 11,000. For just 550 shillings, a group of hustlers can register, aggregate, and trade as one. Across our counties, we are replacing a thicket of permits with a single unified business license. And I want to thank Governor Sakaja for making the statement he made here, that it is now possible to have it on your e-platform. Then we tackled the heart of the challenge, finance. Through the Hustler Fund, we have disbursed close to 90 billion to more than 27 million Kenyans and mobilized over 6 billion in savings from citizens the banking sector had long written off. We have also given more than 8 million negatively listed Kenyans a second chance. People who, when I came into office, were listed in CRBs. Today, they have a second chance and they are making their way up the ladder. Already, over 2 million have rebuilt their credit funding and joined the formal economy. Now we are turning that credit history into a national credit score so that character and behavior, not just a title deed and a logbook, can unlock financing. Pale nyuma tulisema sio wote wako na title deed ama logbook, lakini tutabadilisha tu pia na mikopo hauhitaji title deed ama logbook. Pia vile unaendelea kukopa na kulipa, hiyo kuendelea na kukopa na kulipa inakuwa title deed ama logbook yako ya kuweza kukopa na kujiendeleza kwa biashara yako. We are investing not only in business but in entrepreneurs. Through Nyota, we are building a pipeline of more than 800,000 young people in every ward in this country, equipped with skills, mentorship, and startup capital. These are not handouts. They are seedbed of generation of companies, of manufacturers, and industrialists. At the same time, we are strengthening the ecosystem around them through the Kenya Jobs and Economic Transformation Program. We are expanding enterprise clusters in leather, in textile, dairy, edible oils, and other high potential sectors. We have already in the budget money to create more enterprises in our livestock sector. We have committed 5 billion shillings in 21 counties to build 15 cooperatives in every county. And 300,000 operators will be enlisted in our livestock sector to join the advancement of small enterprises that will power our livestock sector. At the same time, we are re-engineering the Kenya industrial estates to draw MSMEs into manufacturing and double the sector's contribution to GDP. We have built nearly 500 new markets around Kenya, many equipped with cold rooms and internet connectivity. And we have turned government programs into markets for MSMEs. Under the Affordable Housing Program alone, we have ring-fenced 72 products for our Juakali artisans. A Kenya shillings 60 billion opportunity that has already created contracts for more than 33,000 of them. Just here, I met Ondieki, a man who has a small company and is participating in our housing program under this Jua Kali framework. I told him to come along. Huyo mungwana mnamuona hapo ni mtu wa Jua Kali, lakini yeye ndiye ametupatia hinges, ametupatia windows ya pale Mukuru, na wataendelea na wafanyabiashara wengine wote ambao wako Jua Kali. Vile nimesema, kandarasi yao tumewawekea katika hiyo program ya affordable housing ya shilingi bilioni 60 ya hawa watu wa Jua Kali. It has never happened before. This is the heavy lifting government has undertaken, but none of it will be enough until we break the one barrier that still stands on our MSME's back. access to affordable finance. Kenya's MSME financing gap stands at roughly 3 trillion Kenya shillings. This challenge is not unique to Kenya. The World Bank estimates that small businesses across developing economies face a financing gap of more than $5 trillion. Government funds catalyze and prepare our people for credit. But government alone cannot close a Kenya shillings financing gap. The private sector must participate. Over the past 3 years, commercial banks have extended out 1 trillion Kenya shillings in enterprise financing. Yet, the uncomfortable truth remains. The vast majority of micro and small enterprises, the very backbone of our economy, have remained outside this flow of capital. This is neither a complaint or a lamentation. It is an invitation. Today here, I want to begin a honest conversation, national at level, with the private sector on the central question of our economic future. How do we sustain or sustainably unlock financing for the Kenyan MSMEs? That is the conversation we must have between government, between our bank, the private sector, and all other businesses that believe in the future, not just of Kenya, but of humanity. I put it to my friends in finance plainly. How can we possibly grow our economy while locking most of our people off the balance sheet? How do we create jobs for youth while refusing to bank them? History offers an illuminating answer. Half a century ago in Bangladesh, then poorer than Kenya is today, a young economist, Muhammad Yunus, looked at the poorest of the poor, who no bank would touch, and asked a different question. He refused to see them as an unviable market. Instead, he saw the greatest untapped opportunity of his time. From that simple shift in perspective came the Grameen Bank, lending small sums without collateral, built on trust and group accountability. The experts called it impossible. 4 decades later, Grameen Bank has extended more than $37 billion in collateral-free loans to over 10 million people of the world's poorest, most of them women, and earned Yunus and his bank the Nobel Peace Prize. One man, one idea, he banked the unbankable, and in my honest opinion, Kenya needs this kind of thinking. This is the innovation mindset I am calling for, where the cautious banker sees a Kenyan without a title or a logbook and says, there is no market here. But the innovator sees millions the system has yet to reach and the single greatest banking opportunity in our nation. What some dismiss as no opportunity, the visionary recognizes as untapped demand. The unbanked are not a risk to be kept at arm's length. They are a market waiting to be served. The institution that learns to reach them through behavioral credit scoring, mobile technology, and the data we already have generated will not only transform our economy, but also its future. Mimi nataka niwaeleze hivi. Yale nayasema hapa, tuko na banks wako hapa na mimi leo. Na nimesema imefikia nafasi ya sisi kuongea wazi wazi na kukubaliana vile wafanyabiashara wengi ambao leo wanataka kufanya biashara lakini hawana vile wanaweza kupata mkopo yenye iko na riba ya chini. Serikali tumefanya kazi ya muhimu ya kuinua wale walio chini, lakini serikali peke yake haiwezi kukamilisha kazi hii. Na mimi nataka niwaulize, nyinyi mulio hapa, nyinyi ni wafanyabiashara wadogo wadogo, ni kweli ama si kweli? Na mimi nataka niwatie moyo, nataka munisikize kwa makini. Bank ya Equity Bank ilianza hapa Nairobi ikiwa building society, ikitoa mikopo ndogo ndogo kwa wale watu walikuwa wananunua plot. Equity Bank na sio miaka 20-30 iliyopita ilikuwa hapa Four-Way Towers hapo Muindimbigu Street. Bank ya Sidian ilianza Kawangware. Moja. So yenye iko na economy kubwa zaidi Ulaya, in the European Union, the largest economy is Germany. 99% of companies in Germany are small and medium enterprises. Hapa Kenya ni sawa na Ujerumani. 90% ya biashara zote katika taifa letu la Kenya ni biashara ndogo ndogo, micro, small and medium enterprises. Kumaanisha ya kwamba tunaweza kukuza uchumi hii yetu ya Kenya kwa kutumia kampuni hizi ndogo ndogo. Ile tatizo tuko nayo ni kwamba haya makampuni ndogo hayana uwezo ya kupata pesa ya kutosha kuendesha biashara yao. Na hiyo ndio sababu nimesema lazima tuketi chini na bank zetu tukubaliane hawa wafanyabiashara, kwa sababu hawa ndio watabadilisha uchumi ya Kenya. Tutawapatia pesa kwa njia gani? Watapata pesa kwa njia gani? That is the conversation we must have. Hiyo ndio mjadala lazima tuwe nayo. Vile tunaweza kuhakikisha ya kwamba kila biashara inapata pesa ya kujiendeleza. Wakati niliwaambia wa Kenya ya kwamba tutawaondoa kwa na Wakenya 700 ambao walikuwa wamekuwa blacklisted kwa ile inaitwa CRB. Nikawaeleza tutatengeneza mpango kama serikali. Tukaunda ile patia nafasi ya pili ama second chance. Kwa wale watu milioni 7, tayari watu milioni 2 leo ni wafanyabiashara. Wanakopa pesa pale kwa Hustler Fund na kurudisha. Kwa shilingi bilioni 10 tuliweka kwa hiyo 90 billion shillings has been lent. Hakuna mtu. Ni ukweli ama si ukweli? Ni ukweli ama si ukweli? Si kila mtu hapa ako na account ya Hustler Fund? Sijasema kama umelipa ama hujalipa. Wale wako na account ya Hustler Fund? Mtu wako na account ya Hustler Fund. Vile hapo mbele tutakubaliana. Lakini kwa wale wako na account ya Hustler Fund, pia kuna wenye wameingia ile inaitwa bridge. Wale watu wako kwa bridge ni zaidi ya watu. How many people are in bridge, Susan? Watu 900,000 tayari wako katika bridge yenye sasa unaweza kukopa mpaka shilingi 1,150. Mimi nataka nione kwa hii mkutano kuna mtu hapa amefikia kwa bridge ile inaitwa bridge finance. Hebu nione kwa mkono wale wamefikia kwa bridge. Ni wachache lakini wako. Si namna hiyo? So patie pesa nyingi zaidi, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 ndio waweze biashara zao. Sio kama tuko pamoja. So ndio mkutano huu leo tukisherehekea hii UN Day ya MSME. Hasa hawa wetu wa bank, hawa wananchi, mtu wako na biashara yake anahitaji 20,000, 50,000, tunaweza kumpatia namna gani hiyo pesa bila ya kumuuliza alete logbook kwa sababu hana record ya kulipa akikopa. Done to the economy of Kenya. It has established can pick up from there and take these borrowers to the next level as we use government resources to build the credit rating of and the credit to credit score those who are below. So this is a challenge that we have. A nation of innovators can do far much better. So to our entrepreneurs, our bankers, and our builders, I say this. This is our challenge. This is our responsibility. Let us be kwa mkutano huu. Lakini muhimu, kabla sijaondoka hapa, nataka tufanye mkutano kidogo hapa, tuulizane maswali kidogo. vile tunaweza kusonga mbele kwa pamoja, si ndio? So kuja hapa tupangane, si ndio?
Country Representative Constant Z, CEO Africa Guarantee Fund, and Caroline Njuki, Chief Technical Advisor, International Labour Organization ILO. Hao ndio panelists wetu wa siku ya leo, na they'll have this discussion. So Association, we have Gary O'Neill, UN country National Labour Organization ILO. Na panel ikiwa sasa tayari, His Excellency the President being the chair of this particular panel. Over to you, Your Excellency.
Now, where is the representative of the banks? You should not be there alone. Where is CDN Bank? Where is Equity Bank? Is Equity Bank here? Wakuje hapo, songesha hapo, wakuje waketi hapo. Very good. Very good. Hapo ni sawa. Do we have Equity Bank here? Do we have representatives? Kuja keti hapo tuulizane maswali. Na watu wa CDN wakuje kama wako hapa. Na KCB, where is KCB? Are they here? Kenya Commercial Bank? Very good. Do we have any other bank here? Asante sana. Now, good people, I know we have, today we are having, and as I said, economy, if we look at Kenya's economy, and the resident representative of the United Nations has told us 90% of all our businesses are micro, small, and medium enterprises. As government, because many of these small borrowers were condemned to credit rating agencies. And of MSMEs. We have grown a pipeline of borrowers. Today,